Like we always do about this time. And of course, once again, brand new episode of the Tic-Tac podcast. And as always, I got my boy here, Brett, aka the White Rhino. And I'm Eduardo. Now, perfect reason why he's wearing this shirt. Celebration. Why? Because Snoop Deal Double G, the Dogfather, actually acquired Death Row Records, which is, I think, a fucking dub for the notorious, infamous Death Row of 96. Now, fast forward now, 2022. He owns that motherfucker, and we're definitely going to talk about it. But before that, I'm going to ask my boy, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I just woke up from a 3-day Coke binge, so, I might seem a little groggy.
Yeah, dude.
But by the second half, I'll be in the game. Put me in, coach.
All right, no, fair enough, fair enough. I'm doing good, man, doing good. What's crazy, so just we'll start off on this now, right? I've been battling a sinus infection that I had no clue I even had, right? So I've been feeling kind of down. I don't think, maybe on the video, if you guys watch our previous, I think, was it 2 or 3 podcasts? So like I would say this is going to be 92, 91, 90, and 89. You can see that your boy wasn't all into it. And I was kind of feeling a little bit just groggy. And in one of the episodes, I think I told you my eyes seemed kind of like low, like if I was super high, which I wasn't. But the sinus infection was kicking my ass. I had to go to the doctor, I had to get a COVID test. And sure enough, the doctor told me that I had a sinus infection. So she gave me some meds, and your boy's almost I think I'm at 90%, but I feel way better. So first time I ever had something like that. I've never, had a sinus infection. And I could just tell because of the constant headaches every day, feeling sluggish. I just wasn't feeling myself, and I was just out of it completely. So, I had to go to the doctor. They gave me some meds. Now your boy's back. So I wanted to share that.
ODB route. ODB, he had a perfect song lyric for the sinus infection. In the song "End Please," a word that white people can't say. Joe Rogan has learned the hard way.
Oh yeah, he's learned.
But in that song "End Please," he says, I'm immune to all viruses. I sniff that cocaine because it clears up my sinuses.
I should have done that. I should have just fucking taken some huge rounds of coke, man. Fuck it, and just cleared it all up. I think it would have gone away that day, and I would have been feeling pretty good. But it is what it is. We're here now, and I'm feeling good. I definitely wanted to share that little story because, dude, I was just like, what the fuck is up with these headaches? I don't know if it's my allergies kicking in already, where it's just making it worse. But it was just a good old sinus infection. So we're back in the game, and we're good.
Maybe it's the newest stealth stage of the coronavirus,
the Florona, the Omicron, dude,
the Norona,
the
Cynorona.
Cynorona, yeah, that's probably it. First case of me, it was me that had the first case here in this area, so we're all gonna go on a lockdown now.
And I specifically remember telling you, stop eating the bat soup. Stop eating the bat soup.
Can't help it, dude. I mean, if it's too fucking good, I gotta go back.
Pulled out the whole damn bat and just started eating the wing.
Just fucking going at it.
Dude, you're going to get a sinus infection.
Like a bomb-ass chicken wing, dude.
I warned you.
But
quit shopping at all those wet markets, damn it.
Shit, dude. No more bat for me. What's funny, I actually saw a video. It was fucking the funniest thing. There was this lady, I think she was out on a run, and she was like doing push-ups or something like that, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a fucking bat just falls down right in front of her. Just fucking out of nowhere. It was a huge motherfucker too. I was like, holy shit. Damn, I was like, dude, fucking corona right there, dude.
I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to go to the track to run, and she'd always run at night, which was really crazy because that's when all the weirdos came out. But anyway, so I'd be sitting in the bleachers, just getting fat, eating Cheetos, just watching her run.
And, while you're eating Cheetos.
Always Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
Oh, dude, the
best. So right before bed. But anyway, I just remember bats flying everywhere at night, and just like, oh man, I was so scared. Because, I always knew they had rabies. This is before I knew that they could, pass on coronavirus. Just kidding.
Thug life,
coronavirus is man-made. We all know it. The scapegoat, the American and Chinese government blamed the bat. But it was clearly made in a lab.
You always got to have someone to blame, and that's why the bats were fucking the number one prime suspect. So
damn you! Why did you have to be so ugly? We're gonna blame you.
I think it's cool though how they sleep. They hang upside down and they fucking cover themselves up. It's like, dude, that's like I think that's a fucking pretty cool thing about them. But they are pretty ugly though. Other than that, and I would not eat one. I'll tell you that.
Nah. Dude. Nah, and I mean, yeah, any animal that carries rabies, I'm not about to stick in my mouth, you know, and
Oh shit.
yeah, well, most animals, but you know, what was I gonna say? I was just gonna. Oh yeah, so like if I'm reincarnated, I'm definitely gonna be a bat because they're nocturnal, dude. They sleep all day and then they're out all night. I'm like, oh, that's
Party all
me.
night and then sleep all day.
I'll be
Perfect, dude.
the I'll be the bat hanging out at the trap house, just making my way in, just getting my night juice.
My boy's wearing the Death Row Records shirt, and today we're gonna actually talk about something pretty historical. I think within Snoop Dogg's career, I would say it's a huge move for him. And obviously, the title for this article that we're gonna read and jump into right off rip for this segment we call Off the Tip.
Off the tip.
It's called Snoop Dogg Acquires Death Row Records, the infamous '96 Death Row Records. You know, it is Tupac, Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg himself were running the fucking game back in '96. So this is what the article says.
You got to throw in Daz and Corrupt.
Oh,
Lady
Daz
Rage,
Corrupt. Oh, for sure. Dog Pound, everybody. Yeah, yes.
MC Hammer.
Notable names. Yeah, MC Hammer too. And dude, there was a bunch of other people at the time that they were saying they were going to sign a Death Row. Danny Boy. Dude, there's a long list of people, man. Long list of people. But yes, everybody involved, of course, within that camp at the time. Definitely. If we missed any names, no disrespect. But there's a long list. It's a catalog full of people, right? So here we go. Rapper entrepreneur Snoop Dogg, who rose to fame during the 1990s on Death Row Records, has acquired the label's brand from MNRK Music Group, which is controlled by private equity funds managed by the investment firm Blackstone. The firm announced on Wednesday. Terms of the transactions were not disclosed. However, a source close to the situation tells Variety that Snoop Dogg's acquisition of the Death Row brand is the first part of the transaction that is expected to see him also acquiring some of the label's music rights, his own and unspecified other artists. The source says the deal is expected to conclude in the coming weeks. The news comes just days before Snoop Dogg appears with Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar during the Super Bowl halftime show on Sunday, and was foreshadowed earlier this week by the announcement that he and Nas are teaming up for a new song called Back on Death Row. Snoop is releasing a new album with a related title, BODR, on Friday. In a statement, Snoop Dogg, now owner of Death Row Records, said, "I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value. It feels good to have ownership of the label I was part of the beginning of my career and as one of the founding members. This is an extremely meaningful moment for me. I would like to personally thank the teams of Blackstone, MNRK, and especially David Kestbaum, I think that's his name. I butchered it. It is what it is. Who worked collaboratively with me over several months to make this exciting homecoming a reality. I'm looking forward to building the next chapter of Death Row Records." Damn, dude. What do you think, Brett? What do you think?
Well, I got some thoughts.
Let's go.
Hey, I'm all happy for him. I'm all happy. Don't get me wrong, right? Mm-hmm. But when I'm buying shirts like this, right, I'm buying them because they're vintage shirts. Vintage, Okay. It's not in vogue to, wear the new stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's just not, you wouldn't see me wearing a Bad Boy Records shirt, You wouldn't see me wearing a, whatever, a Sony, record shirt, whatever. So the thing is, as much as cool as the news is, right? As cool as it sounds like, oh, he's the original, people. He was one of the founding people on Death Row. He was like one of the first signed acts. Dre and Suge started this thing, and and then Snoop was just right there from the beginning, just young kid. It almost feels like karma, because he got screwed over so much, and Suge tried to kill him multiple times, and Suge hid all this knowledge from Snoop on, the masters, so he didn't own the masters, and he just got screwed over left and right. But, that nothing will be like Death Row in the 90s, the golden era of hip-hop. Yeah. Nothing will. And I think it's great, but it's like we're in a new era. Artists are streaming their music now, so independent artists, so what are you gonna do that's gonna attract all these people to get on your label when someone can just as easily probably get a better deal if they have the talent to stream their own music independently?
For sure.
Yeah.
No, I think, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yes, obviously, there's never gonna be what it was back in '96. Where Tupac, like the face of Death Row to me, when I think about that, you see Suge Knight, Tupac, Dre, Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
like, and then Daz and Corrupt. Like when you say that, right? And I think they're looking at this more as like a brand. I think at this point is to see what Pac has in the vault with that's tied in with Death Row. Maybe there's some unreleased Dr. Dre stuff, Snoop Dogg, Dogg Pound stuff. Cool, that would be awesome to hear. If it's unreleased stuff, they never really got to it and they just kept it in the vault. But I did hear one clip. I think it was in relative to this, where Snoop Dogg was talking about he wanted to sign artists to Death Row Records. This was years before this. I guess he was been working on this deal to make it happen, but he would want to make it to a record label to where he would want to sign just West Coast artists. That's it. And again, but like you said, you have a good point. What would be, I guess you could say, how would you say, what would be the key thing for him to be like, well, why would you sign a Death Row if I can release my own music on the internet, go do my own tours, sell my own merch, and I keep everything to me 100% instead of signing to you? I guess there's trade-offs where, like, it is Snoop Dogg, it is Death Row Records, the new Death Row, whatever. So there's pros and cons to both ends. I guess it just depends on that person, how they want to go about it, right? So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just curious to see how he's really gonna, carry this torch and just carry it on forward and go from there. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, from what I recollect, from I can remember actually, Dr. Dre and Suge Knight were kind of like the key figures, right? That started the main thing. And I think then they found Snoop Dogg, and then they found like the other key members, to add to the roster at that point. But I mean, overall, I mean, we're still saying congratulations to Snoop Dogg. I think that's an awesome thing that you're doing. That the place that gave you that fame when you released Doggy Style, it was, dude. I mean, I could say this story multiple times. That was my first album where I got introduced to rap and what rap was. Right. Murder Was the Case. I remember like it was yesterday. The beat, the West Coast sound, that was Death Row to me. I remember that shit like it was like yesterday. So that's always going to be embedded in my head. So I think it's dope to fast forward now. The guy that I remember listening to rap for the first time when I was little acquired that, the fucking record label. So, but hats off to you, man. I mean, I think that's dope. And yeah, I mean, I'm just curious to see how they're going to carry it on from here on out. But yeah, you're right. I mean, from what I remember, Death Row was what it was in '96. The future, I don't know what it's going to hold. So I hope it's good. And, it just continues to retell that, it started back then. That's what it was. And maybe hopefully elevate even higher. Because, I mean, Tupac, what he left off when he was on Death Row at the height of that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge shoes to fill, my boy. So I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's a whole different game from there. So, yeah, man, I'm just curious to see how it goes.
Yeah,
I wonder how much he paid too. I don't know how much he paid. I wonder how much
like Hasbro paid like $4 billion for it when they bought it.
Ooh, man!
And so it had to have been around there. Had to have been, $4
billion.
I'm sure. And there have been no details. But did you see the sexual assault accusation on Snoop?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no, I didn't hear that.
So right as this news was coming out, well, the news really had come out that he was going to be doing the Super Bowl halftime performance, and then shortly after that was announced, all of a sudden a lady came out and said that she'd forcibly had to give Snoop head. And it had to do with something. I think it was like in the Bishop Don Juan. Gave her this ride she was trying to get in one of the videos, and so she asked to go to the bathroom, and then when she was in the bathroom, I guess that's when Snoop Dogg came in. That allegedly, this is what she's claiming.
Yeah, for sure. Allegedly, you want to make that sure.
That he came into the bathroom and then just forcibly put his in her mouth, and so then and that was 2013. So the question is, why did she wait so long? And whatever. So. Anyway, that's all playing out right now as well.
Yeah, so coincidentally, it literally happens in the time span of when he acquired, when the deal went through with Death Row Records, the acquisition of that, and all of a sudden these sexual allegations start flying.
I think it was the Super Bowl news because nobody knew about Death Row. This was a complete surprise, so she wouldn't have even known about that. But the Super Bowl performance is all of a sudden, oh, okay, well, let's just, the timing, devil's advocate here. I'm not, I don't know either side, but, there's the malicious side where if it didn't happen, then, here this, in fact, Snoop came out and called her a gold digger, and so saying that, she's making this up right before he's doing this big performance while all the attention is on him. But, then if it really did happen, it's just you have to ask, like, why did you wait so long, and why now when, the news just came out? So so he's seeing it as a payoff, and we'll see if what comes of it. But
yeah. Seems kind of too coincidental. I think you're right. I mean, there's factors to this, right? We may not know the true story. We can only just kind of tell and, pretty much talk about our perspective from it. Just saying, like, it's too coincidental. Before the, Super Bowl performance, I mean, maybe she did or she did not know. I mean, if she didn't know about the death row acquisition, okay, that can be taken off the table as proof that all of a sudden with all this stuff coming in at him, it's like, she's talking about this took place years ago. Why now? So, I mean, you're right. There's some valid points out there where, I mean, true, false, true.
Is a mother effer, right?
Yeah,
and but I did see Suge Knight Jr. speak on this.
Oh, really? What did he say?
TMZ caught up with him, and they were, asking Suge Knight Jr., which happens to be Suge Knight's son, and Suge Knight, everybody knows, was the leader of Death Row.
The fucking boss of Death Row.
Dude, he is totally chill with it,
Oh, really?
It was weird watching the interview because he was, like, making it sound like, he's like, oh, fans in the industry, they sort of made these issues, but, like, he's saying that nobody had beef with anybody. He's like, Suge was cool with Pops was cool with Snoop, and Pops was cool with Easy. But we all know that Suge Knight went on Jimmy Fallon joking about stabbing Eazy-E with the AIDS needle,
Yeah, there's a clip of that out there.
Yeah, and we know that Suge was out there trying to kill Snoop. And we know that Suge had tried to kill Eminem in Hawaii. So, Suge Jr., hey, God bless him for having a good, humble soul. But
other things tell us why.
Someone is leaving a little bit of details out of the fact when they're sharing these stories with you, son.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, that is his dad, so I don't expect him to, roll on his dad or anything or, speak ill of him.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it's really, I think things are going to be said after now, knowing like what's happening with the record label, right? So, I mean, it's just a lot of history behind it to where, like, there's still, what's even more interesting is obviously you still have a lot of people that were involved around that area that like to talk about their own personal stories that they've witnessed and dealt with, along that time. 94, 95, 96, up until when Pac passed away. And that's where they say that, like, it pretty much started to crumble. And it's just a big part of music history, man. I think it's always going to be one of those things where it's always going to be this huge factor and just huge part of rap in general, just because at the height of both Bad Boy and Death Row Records, it was literally East versus West, and that's what they fucking pushed for. And ultimately, two people lost their lives, and they were legends in their own ways. And we always wonder if it's always interesting to talk about what if they were both still alive now, and we probably could have needed that now with just for unity and other good purposes, other positive things. So it's just crazy. It's crazy that it's just a huge story to tell from both sides, I guess you can say. But Death Row in general, it was a mega powerhouse, man. And we always somewhat into slip in here in the podcast, talk about Death Row Records, the infamous Death Row Records. We even did a little montage photo. It's probably on it is on our Instagram podcast of us replicating the infamous Death Row Records fucking black portrait. Background, all the portrait of all the artists, and it's because it's just us, like, fuck, we're fans. I mean, we were fans of just even back then up until now. Yeah, dude, iconic.
And so many people have used that same format too, like you shared me the Christmas card. That was pretty funny. I've seen a number, like family portraits, they'll do it in that same format. I'd love to get my family in that format, you know.
Oh, dude, that would be sick.
Just give the photographer that, and it's like, okay, I'll be Suge.
Oh,
you
just
know,
the
my
middle.
wife will be Tupac, and then my 2 kids will be Dre and Snoop.
Oh, dude, fuck yes. You need to do it, man. Now you need to fucking do that, dude, for this year's Christmas.
Definitely, someday.
Pictures or something, bro. Yeah, it's like obviously, but definitely. I mean, it's a good thing overall. I mean, this whole news that Snoop got pretty much the record label under his palm. And, I'm just curious to see what happens. So hopefully he definitely steers it in the right direction, which I'm hoping he will.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens, man. I mean, we can only hope for the best, right? And I'm curious to listen to the album. I don't know. Have you listened to it yet? Back on Death Row?
I did.
You did?
Yeah. It was.
Okay.
It was. So here's the thing. I haven't listened to a Snoop Dogg track since probably 2013. Since the whole allegation. No, but I think "Drop It Like It's Hot" was one of the last ones. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Homeboy's done. It was a good track. It was a good track, but it was thanks to Pharrell. But like Snoop, he just got late. I don't know. It just seemed like he just lost the love for whatever, for like the game. Nothing. So all of his writers were gone from Doggy Style. And remember, Dogfather came out, and Dogfather, like all of us, were just like, "What is this album?" Nowadays, I can listen to Dogfather, and and get through it without cringing. But it was really hard when Machiavelli came out, because Dogfather came out before Machiavelli. So I'm listening to Dogfather, and I'm just like, I'm trying to like force myself to like it. But it was like you'd listen to Doggy Style, and you're just like. The only reason you couldn't listen to Doggy Style anymore was because you listened to it so much and you knew every single lyric to every single word.
Yeah.
And so you had to do something else, but it's just like Dogfather was not the same. Then he went to No Limit. Everything he put on No Limit sucked. I mean, I'm glad he got the knowledge and everything, whatever, but his musically, it sucked. Every single No Limit album was garbage. And then I'm just like, man, And then everything, he did that Pharrell joint, and it's just like he'd have like a handful of hits. I remember like was the one
Beautiful,
the one with Akon. No, I didn't know that was
you that. Like that one?
Oh yeah. No, I hated that one. I like Drop It Like It's Hot, and then I liked the one with Akon.
I know what you're talking about.
Grinding. Up on a pole.
Yeah. That was hard. That was a hard one.
But aside from like 1 or 2 songs that I could listen to out of like the hundreds that he made, I'm just like, I'm done. I can't do Snoop anymore. So musically, I can't do him anymore. So when I was listening to the BODR, I was. There were a few hot lines in it, and I'm like, I don't think he wrote that. So that's cool though. I'm good with him not writing his lyrics. Like if he can get like one of these cats that's really lyrically advanced, and then he can just take that. That's cool. Like it worked for Dre, and it worked for Snoop on Doggy Style. So that's what he should do. He needs to just stop writing his own lyrics because it's the same thing. SNOOPDOGG. It just doesn't go beyond that. And so it doesn't work.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it, so I really can't give my take. But there were some snippets that I heard that sounded kind of interesting. The one with Nas, that on the article it was saying something about Nas, the song called "Back on Death Row." I'm just more curious to take a listen to it. But you're right. I mean, I think there is a handful of songs I can say that I did enjoy like in the past couple of years where they were kind of like hit or miss. So, but it would just depend, I think, on what type of song. For him to be on, where he would be like a guest and he would kind of kill it. But like a solid album, dude. I mean, dude, it's just hard. Like I'm sorry, but I have to say, Doggy Style was the fucking album. Like for me, like I always think about Doggy Style. That to me is always going to be the forefront. Like if any album, if I had to start off with that one being the first one that was the shit coming from him. So
it was the same thing with Nate Dogg. I remember when Nate Dogg put out his own album. I'm like, what is this garbage? But like when anytime he would work with another artist, like that's why he was able to put out his own album, because it was just he was killing it on every single song.
Oh, he was a fucking phenomenal guest on songs and shit.
But when he had to hold his own, like when he's singing a whole song all by himself, like there's some good songs like These Days. That's a really good song. I like that one. But aside from that, it's just like no, just stick with what works. I know it probably sucks because you want to be like a Tupac where you can lay out a whole album and you could do it
fucking
yourself.
difficulties. Okay, you're back. You froze.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to you.
Dude. Oh, yeah. Mine, dude. I'm
Section
serious.
A, baby.
I don't know. Seriously. Ever since I made fun of your internet, it all of a sudden started happening to me. Ever since.
Oh fuck, they're tapping in. They're definitely the fucking feds are watching us. I don't know what it is. I think you said Coke earlier, and they're fucking tapping you now.
Oh
man.
yeah, they're just like they're trying to like not completely throw off our pod because they're trying to hear everything, but they're trying to be discreet about it. But the old Stingray, it's infiltrating a little too hard.
Oh, dude, they're probably fans of it too. They're probably enjoying it. They're like, we shouldn't go in now. We should probably wait till the end of this episode.
Yeah.
So
you know what? And let that be the segue right there with the police trying to bust us on some drugs and whatever. Which in real life we're just kidding. This is just a show. We're just entertainers.
Exactly.
But go into your story with the Denny's if you have it.
Oh, I don't have that story, but obviously, so I don't have the full details. But it was funny. I actually shot my boy Brett here it was a DM on Instagram in regards of a Denny's. It was out there in the east side, out in the east somewhere where
there were Philadelphia somewhere or Pennsylvania.
Somewhere over there, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Where it was a manager. Not only was this person fucking managing this Denny's staff, serving up breakfast, lunch, you name it, everything, but he was also slaying. I don't think he was a he.
It was she.
It was a she. Oh, okay. She was slinging out fentanyl and all this stuff from the same spot. And then they caught her, obviously, because she sold some of that stuff to an undercover, agent. So she got busted. But my boy here, we made the joke, well, damn, during these tough times of inflation, man, this is, people got to make a living. Whether they're not 9 to 5, making $60 an hour minimum wage, you got to sell a little fentanyl on the side.
Yeah, there is not a McDonald's or Denny's worker that I've ever met in life that wasn't a drug dealer on the side.
Yeah,
everybody's trying to get their cut, and with Biden inflation going through, the official record is 7.5, but the actual record is much higher. We're looking at double-digit inflation. Yeah, it's getting dicey for a lot of families. A lot of families truly are struggling. I think I don't know that if that's the full reason why you're seeing like shoplifting, because right now there's like 6 cities like Detroit, LA, New York, San Francisco. I want to say somewhere else, but anyway, those are just 4 cities. But they are dealing with massive crime waves of shoplifting, where actually like syndicates are coming in, and they're hiring homeless people to just overtake these stores, and so these stores are like forced to like lock up stuff like toothpaste. Because what they're doing is they're stealing as much as they can. They take a laundry basket in with them, and they'll either do it in a flash mob or they'll just do it solo. And they'll just load up everything, and they know that in these states they can't be touched by security, and so they just load up everything and then just walk right out, and then they'll go to what's one of the OfferUp or something like that, and just sell it. Sell it like that. And
no, dude, yeah, I agree. There's been a lot more active just crime waves of people shoplifting. I mean, dude, I've run into clips of people just storming a fucking Target, walking out with shit. One of the stores, I think, was a Lowe's. And you see these people like putting stuff in this cart and just walking out like it's nothing, and the police can't do nothing about it. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Really? It's bad, man. It's bad.
A combination of, for one, a really bad economy. This is the worst economy we've seen in our lifetime. This is, and so the economists will tell you this is the highest inflation we've seen in 40 years. So neither one of us have hit that mark yet. So it's definitely the worst economy of our lifetime. And then I think this is also in conjunction with the fact that a lot of these places that you're seeing these crimes take place are also states that have passed laws to reduce sentences, reduce the ability of store personnel, security personnel, and even police to actively do their job. I know we've talked about it on the podcast before. In Washington State, police are just so frustrated with our governor, and the fact that our governor has made it illegal to conduct a high-speed chase. So like if someone stole a car or whatever and then they happen to see it, they cannot pursue them. They have to let them go. And it's just, this is a thing it's just really hard on everybody. It hurts an entire community because, you've got the people that are getting their stuff stolen from them. So now you don't feel safe anymore. And then you have frustrated police. And then even the people that are getting away with it, what happens is now all of a sudden you start seeing, in addition to inflation, now these stores with all these security measures they have to take, like by adding new equipment, adding cable locks, security tags, and security locks on their shopping carts so that the people can't leave the store without them. All of that stuff costs money, and the more money that a store has to put into it, the more money that they have to raise their price on. And it's a slippery slope now that we have Amazon in the picture, because Amazon doesn't have any of those problems. So
those
these stores are like
physical stores.
Shoot, how am I going to raise my prices? Because if I raise them too much, or if I make it too hard for honest shoppers to shop here, they're just going to go to Amazon. And I think ultimately that's what is already happening with a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's just only I think a handful of stores that are just physical stores now, and Amazon's really kind of just taking the win for everything, where everything's just you order it from home, get it delivered straight to your house, and make everything easy. But I mean, it's with all this crime waves and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I mean, hopefully, I don't know if there's a solution to it, but it's just only going to get worse as we're seeing it. We're seeing it firsthand. It's crazy though. Yeah, you're right. It's crazy. I mean, people are going to want to try to, obviously support themselves by any means necessary, and maybe they don't have it going to well for them, and I get it. It's just the ripple effect, I guess you could say, from the economy. So yeah, man, it's tough out there, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
It is tough out there.
Yeah, so that was my joke, anyway. But it really, it was a joke made in jest, and or a comment made in jest, but it obviously taps into the reality of it.
Oh yeah, definitely the reality of it, man. Definitely hard times for some people, definitely. But we're gonna move on to our next topic. Obviously, here onto the podcast, as you see on my boy's background right there, you see two UFOs just hovering over and just chilling there, listening to the podcast. It's one of the things that we definitely, I mean, for me personally, I like bringing up of just different stories that come up with UFO sightings or UFO events that take place with. Recently we've talked about the U.S. Navy. I think some fighter jets had encounters with some UFOs. There's actually one article that's very interesting that happened as of last year, I believe, and the article just came out. I believe it was last year. Yeah, it was last year that it came out. But I want to read about this, and the title of this is called "New Infrared Image Shows Swarm of Flashing Tic-Tac Shaped UFOs Chasing 4 U.S. Navy Destroyers Off California Coast at 70 miles per hour."
Dang.
So this is a long one, so bear with us, people. This goes into detail on just the event of when this took place, how it took place, and just all the U.S. Navy ships, just what they encountered, and just what their thoughts on this was, and what is it. So here we go. All right, so let's buckle up and let's go for a ride. A newly released infrared image showed a swarm of 3 Tic-Tac shaped UFOs chase 4 U.S. Navy destroyers off the coast of California. The grainy image has been released by the Navy and shows what appears to be 3 small dots representing unmanned aerial systems UAS hovering near the USS Paul Hamilton. It was one of the many occurrences naval ships saw over the course of weeks, as many destroyers spotted these contraptions in July 2019. These 3 UAS appeared near the ship around 8 p.m. on July 17th, shortly after the USS Paul Hamilton cut location broadcasting via the Automatic Identification System, AIS. Ships are not required to broadcast their location 24/7 and usually disable the transponder in situations that call for heightened security. This decision was not reflected on the ship's deck log, but earlier in the month, logs indicate that other ships in the area also turned of AIS during UAS activity. Additionally, the USS Paul Hamilton's log did indicate that the UAS appeared shortly after it had turned its navigation lights on. Shortly before 8 p.m., one UAS was spotted 1 nautical mile away. 20 minutes later, the timeline indicates that 2 more were seen, with 1 falling into the water. The drive reported after viewing documents it received through a Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) request, the ship reported seeing red flashing lights. Roughly 30 minutes later, the USS Paul Hamilton reported a UAS swarm, and by 9:11 p.m., 1 UAS was directly above at 2,000 feet. By 9:15, the UAS moved away from the ship at almost 70 miles per hour before returning less than 10 minutes later. The USS Hamilton reported the swarm lasted almost 3 hours, from 7:56 p.m. to 10:39 p.m. The total number of UAS spotted by the Navy destroyer is unknown due to the abbreviated brief slides which were viewed by the drive. 3 days earlier, the USS John Finn also spotted red flashing lights off the starboard side of the ship and indicated that they had turned off their AIS system. The ship spotted 2 UAS at elevations of 1,000 and 1,500 feet. One of the ships involved, the USS Omaha, released incomplete ship logs, the drive reported. According to the drive, the Navy did conduct countermeasure drills later in the week, and the Navy may have introduced portable counter-drone devices. In April 2021, Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Michael Gilday said the military had not been able to identify the aircrafts, and the Department of Defense has since declined an answer thus far. The drama began on the night of July 14th, 2019. Deck logs from the USS Kidd showed that just before 10 p.m. that night, 2 drones were spotted. An onboard intelligence crew responsible for documenting and investigating contact with unknown vessels, known as Ship Nautical or otherwise Photographic Interpretation and Exploitation Team, or Snoopy, was engaged to figure out who or what the mystery flying objects were. Within a few minutes of sighting, reports showed the USS Kidd moved into quiet mode, minimizing communications as it sought to work what the threat level was. It contacted a nearby warship also on patrol, the USS Rafael Peralta, who also engaged their onboard photo intelligence team, or Snoopy. Several other U.S. Navy destroyers on patrol nearby began noticing strange lights. The USS Finn also reported UAV activity and noticed a red flashing light at 10:03 p.m. according to its logbook. Just over an hour later, at 11:23 p.m., the USS Rafael Peralta spotted a white light hovering over the flight deck. The drone was able to remain hovering above the destroyer's helicopter landing pad while traveling at speeds of 16 knots and in low visibility. The nearly 9-minute encounter was well beyond the capability of commercially available drones. The next night, the drones returned, this time as the warships were patrolling closer to the California mainland. They were first spotted by the USS Rafael Peralta, and the ship's Snoopy team was engaged at 8:39 p.m. At 8:56 p.m., logs showed that the USS Kidd also came into contact with the drones. The drones seemed to have pursued the ships even as they continued to maneuver throughout the incident, the driver reported. Logbooks on board the USS Russell showed drones were swarming all over it, dipping in elevation from 1,000 to 700 feet and seemingly able to move in any direction. The USS Russell had separate contact with drones 9 occasions in less than an hour. Then at 9:20 p.m. that night, the USS Kidd noticed multiple UAVs around the ship. The USS Rafael Peralta was also swarmed by as many as 4 drones. It was contacted by passing the cruise ship, the Carnival Imagination, to say they had spotted up to 6 drones. Wow. The 3-hour frenzy of activity continued until close to midnight, with none of the warships able to say with certainty where the drones had come from. The Navy's top commanders, including the Chief of Naval Operations, CNO, and Commander of the Pacific Fleet, were notified. The Los Angeles Bureau of FBI was also brought in to look at the incident. The subsequent investigation found that just a handful of civilian ships were in the area at the time that they could have been used as landing pads for the drones. Investigators suspected the drones may have been launched from the ORV Alguita, a catamaran in the area. And while the Alguita did have drones on board, it was soon established its aircraft were not capable of such aeronautical feats. Naval intelligence was brought in on the investigation, and it was soon turning its glare inwards. The area is home to a large U.S. naval base on San Clemente Island, where sensitive training operations are often undertaken.
Wow.
Dude,
that's a lot of activity, isn't it?
Bro, and what's crazy, you did show me a video, and I wish I would have saved this, because when we talk about this stuff, it would go hand in hand. I think it was I believe it was a cruise ship of people looking onwards out into the ocean, and we saw like these swarm of lights just glowing out in the distance, and they were all flying together.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, dude, and here we have the fucking U.S. Navy ship saying we don't know what the fuck this thing is.
I know.
Like that's what blows my mind about this. Like, then again, okay, we need to reel back, right? We need to kind of be in the middle of this. One for me is saying UFOs, aliens, UAPs, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Then I have to be like, okay, I got to be a little bit of a skeptic myself. Do we even know if these people are telling us the truth? What if it's some fucking tech that they're hiding? Because I did send you a video one time of this fucking drone zipping out, zooming by so quick, so fucking fast. I'm like, dude, if they make this at a size of a fucking jet, just something small, right? I mean, imagine the maneuvers and just everything it could do. I mean, within that time span, because I'm sure, I don't know if they have like even drones now, like even small drones don't even last that long. I think they say like 40 to 30 minutes of airtime. I think it just depends, right? Like the batteries you use and how many batteries and all that. And then with the weight, all that stuff, right? Yeah. But if they got it fucking down to the knot where we made our own drones to where they can do this type of shit and fucking just do all these crazy maneuvers, I mean, we don't know. We don't know. But by far, they're saying they have no clue what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know it's like I'm always one of those people that, and I have been, one of those people that thinks that this thing is man-made, and that, but we have a secret department, and it's probably the same one that Bob Lazar was working under and for. They can scrub any type of data they want. They are off the record. Everything's highly classified. And if we've been doing this alien stuff and doing the research there, I mean, dude, it's been what? How long ago was Roswell? What?
Dude, that was 1940 something, wasn't it? 1940.
It was in like the 45 or so. Yeah, it was in the 40s, right? 50, maybe it was in even the 1950s, but still
years ago.
You have, the stuff that was going on then, and then they've had this many years. They've had 70 years to work on this technology, and so I don't know.
And also we have to take into account too that during World War II, we actually had a bunch of Nazi scientists that were involved with a bunch of projects that we were working on to advance our nuclear weaponry, just tech in general. So you have to take that into account. And also there were rumors, I mean, conspiracy, right? Let's put our fucking tinfoil hats on, imaginary ones. The Nazis were actually supposedly they had UFO technology, or they had some technology that was just solely far advanced that they couldn't perfect. And what if we just fucking took over that? I'm like, hey, that's coming to us. We won the war. It's us. It's ours now.
And that's what I've said on the pod before.
Yeah.
This all seemed to start with the Nazis and what they were doing, and it's just because they lost the war. And it was between Russia and the U.S., but, we took a handful of what we wanted, whether it was scientists, top secret data, and, scientific data, all that. So Russia took their stuff, America took their stuff, and we went in our different ways. And I do. I think that this stuff is man-made. I think that the reason why it's still a secret is because there's going to appear to be an attack on Earth, and that the people that have this technology, they're going to try to use it to consolidate the power for themselves. That's my skeptic mind thinking, and I think the thing that solidifies that belief is that now you're seeing these activities happen more frequently than we've ever heard in the past. Before it was just like, oh, damn machines came out there and put crop patterns in my crop, and it used to be just like the weirdo farmer that no one talked to, and all of a sudden had all these crop circles, and then but it would happen in everywhere. And the crazy thing too is it doesn't happen in every country. It's mostly, if you look at like a UFO sightings map, a lot of it is in the United States and a lot of it is in the UK. And so between those two countries, then of course America and Britain worked hand in hand in the war, so anything America got, then Britain also got as well. So I imagine they're dealing with the same things over there. They're seeing the same type of stories. But
yeah, man, it's all just really fascinating to me, just with this whole, just on the topic of UFOs and UAPs or whatever these things are, right? But the more and more, obviously, as time goes, especially recently, there's a lot more people coming out, like that are on the force, like just there are in, they're in the army, and they want to come out and come out anonymously and talk about their encounters where they've seen some stuff where they don't know themselves what it is, and they don't know, they can't really identify what this thing is that's flying around and just making their fucking jets look like fucking just snails out there, right?
Yeah.
But there is actually I want to take the time to ask the viewers, right? Viewers, listeners, both sides. There is a crazy story that I actually come across in Oregon. This happened years ago, but it's one of the very infamous and what they consider legitimate stories of a UFO encounter, or just someone took a picture of a UFO and they can't debunk the photo, saying that they can't say it's fake, but they don't want to say it's real, but it's more closer to being real, like one of the realest photos. But tell us if you guys want to hear about more stuff like this, where we can actually stick to just one main topic and really kind of talk about the whole story and just go into depth with it. And, maybe we can try something new here on the podcast and just, see if that's something you guys want to listen to. But also, and speaking of that, we've talked about here before on talking about our hitting our 100th episode and do something special for that. I can say we don't want to put too much out there, but let's say we got something in the works, something's in the plans, and something's brewing. I'll say that, and more info on that soon as the months come by closer to this. But we just want you to know, just because we want to deliver you some more awesome content and just make it good for everybody to listen to or watch if you're on YouTube. It'll be something that I know will be, I guess you could say, as a thank you from us to you for keeping up with us up until now. I think this is going to be episode 93. I think 93, right?
This is 92.
92? Oh, shit. We're close, though. We're 8 away, literally, from 100th episode, which is crazy to think itself. Like, 100 episodes in, man. Can't you believe that? It's almost kind of like it's like a bittersweet moment, because you're like, that's fucking wild. Almost 100 fucking episodes, man.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's steadily growing. We literally planted this little seed, and its little roots started growing. It just became a nice little tree, and we just can't wait for it to be a fucking ginormous motherfucker. So,
yeah.
as us saying thank you for sticking through it, and just, us putting our creative juices together and have it flow and bring you something awesome. So, More news on that. But yeah, overall, man, on this article, I just think it's just really wild, dude. Like, when I was reading it, kind of like a little bit, half of it before I was slapping it together so I can, read it here on the pod. I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm in the middle of it, because it's like, one side of me wants to believe that it is a fucking UFO, but then there's another side of me where all this time and we have yet to really know what it really is, or have some type of evidence where if it's something technological, like you said, man-made. I mean, we got Bob Lazar who says, he's worked on reverse engineering this stuff.
Yeah.
And that story itself always interested me when I first heard about it up until now. But, I mean, dude, it's kind of like him, right? And just to make it short, like, I think at this point, nobody really came out to say they can discredit him, right, or he's come out to be a fraud completely 110%. Because, I mean, in his own words, like he says, I got nothing to gain from this. I'm just more about the technology, that why is this being kept from us, to where this could change literally the world and how we live, with creating this gravitational propulsion system, or gravitational anti-gravity something. It's just pretty much gravity, making its own gravity from this little fucking plate. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, dude, that's some sci-fi shit. I mean, it's always going to be of interest for me, like, from here on till we fucking figure out what this thing is, or if they ever come out to say, oh yeah, this is what it was this whole time, and it wasn't really a UFO.
You guys are a bunch of idiots for thinking it was aliens. I mean, yeah, eventually we will know. I mean, that's the one thing about time is, with enough time, everything is revealed. So,
oh yeah, in due time,
we will find out. There's too many people that are hungry for the truth, and until they start killing journalists, then we're gonna keep prying.
That's a different story. That's a whole different wave. Like, once we hear people getting fucking axed and fucking murdered for telling the truth of coming out, then I'm like, we're getting closer, and it's they're really they're not taking any risks for it to be revealed or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you know too much, just look at the Clinton family. Just look up #Clinton body count, and you'll know there's just too many people that are too close and that know too much, and all of a sudden they just get killed.
We should do an episode like involving that, because I'm curious to know about it myself. But you have told me about that. But it's interesting to know that there is, like you said, a list of people that have been killed under the Clinton family, right? Or so it seems like it's too of a coincidence, I guess you can say, right?
Yeah.
I haven't really looked into it before, but I've heard about it from you and somebody else. I forgot who it was, but it's not the first time that it's coming across my fucking vision. So
it's a pretty popular thing, because it's just too ironic, right? I mean, you don't see anybody else in political America that has as many people that have mysteriously died within their orbit, and it just so happens to be that these people knew certain facts and were either willing to talk about it or had started to talk about it, when all of a sudden gone, dead. Oh wow, they just ran into a tree. It was weird. When we found out, are all in a system. Yeah, there's a lot of information there.
Definitely. Oh, something I want to bring up too. I don't know if you want to talk about it, or if you want to make an announcement about it right now, or wait. I think we have a date. I'm not sure, but we've talked about having potential guests on this podcast, and we always definitely like to collaborate with people, and just people that we find of interest, people just that we definitely just can make some good content of doing an episode together. And I think we have something in the works here soon, right? I don't know if you want to touch bases on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, until everything's until it happens, because things can happen, right? Things can happen where you think you're going in one direction, then all of a sudden it doesn't work out, whatever. So, but yes, definitely some. I mean, we have a guest coming up here in March. Is that what you're talking about? The one that our next guest that we're having, or
in March, and also two potential guests here soon.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do. It seems like that's one thing that people like, is just getting guests on there, and you're just having something to sort of break up the thing of what we're doing here, just add more flavor to it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we have one that's pretty much on the books already, and then another one that's a potential. And definitely, and always, we're always looking for interesting guests. And if you, the thing that catches our eye is if you are someone who, is funny. I mean, that always helps. Oh yeah, right.
Definitely gotta have humor. Definitely.
Yeah. You can't be afraid of the mic. You can't be afraid of a couple of guys that show up in pit vipers.
Oh, dude, I know, right? We captivate the fear within the fucking glasses. That's why we wear them. Because if we were not wearing them, then you'd be fearful. See what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's what my mom told me.
No, we're just chilling though. No, we're just easygoing people, man. We'll jive with anybody.
Yeah, but people that are either professionals in their field, or are doing the same thing we're doing, and then just sort of using that synergy to sort of lift us all up to where more and more people are aware of this stuff that we talk about. So if there's some things that we're talking about, and all of a sudden we see someone else talking about it, and they're informed, and they're doing the research, they're doing that, hey, let's get you on, let's trade notes, let's talk about this stuff. So yeah, that's that's sort of what this is just sort of an open invitation to anybody else who is out there. You think you have something to contribute to the pod, and you want to get on here and talk about it, we can work out a deal where we record one episode, you can put it on your platform, we'll put it on our platform. That way we're just getting this stuff out there for people. And, face it, more and more people are turning away from traditional mainstream news, and they are going into other forms of entertainment. And right now, the podcast, while we still have the freedom to speak against the narrative, the mainstream narrative, because eventually that's the one thing that scared me this whole time about the Joe Rogan debacle, was that he went against COVID so much, and he got these doctors, Robert Malone and Stephen McCullough, that these people knew so much about COVID because they were there from the beginning, and it's just those two people were not allowed to go on mainstream. So when Joe Rogan did it with his 10 million viewers, or listeners, whatever, his $10 million or 10 million people audience, the mainstream went nuts. And that's why all of a sudden you saw the controversy that we've been talking about the last couple weeks happen. And so, and so the threat there is anybody who wants to speak against the mainstream narrative it falls under that axe, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they start passing laws, or even they'll start with platforms like YouTube and whatever that are out there. There might be a day where we have to go to Rumble, because Rumble, I don't know if you saw it, but they offered Joe Rogan, I think it was $100 million. I think they offered him $100 million to go over to Rumble. No censorship, no polling of episodes, because Spotify polled, I think, 130 episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, damn. So it was more than the 70 originally, right? Like we said,
it was a lot more. And
wow.
And so, and I don't think Joe Rogan took it. I think they decided to work it out, but he's just such a coward when it comes to this. And I'm not like, I know a lot of people listen to him. That's good. But it's just one of those things where you had to listen to those episodes, and if you didn't download it, it's gone forever. But he had a voice in that. It's just that's exactly what I was afraid of. I knew that the stuff he was coming out with was so controversial, and I listened to him before he went to Spotify. When he went to Spotify, I just knew that the game was over for him. That was the beginning of the end. And sure enough, here it is. He's already agreed to getting all these episodes removed, and you're going to see a very, very tame Joe Rogan going forward. He's just aside from him using the N-word, he was there. You can't, white people, that's just the one forbidden fruit that we have. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. I know Joe Biden said it a lot in his days, and no one's canceled him, but he's a useful idiot on the left. If he was a Republican, you damn right they'd be circling the wagon. But he's a useful idiot. And the thing is, the truth of the matter is, if Joe Rogan would have never put out that COVID, having those two guests on and spoke about ivermectin working for him and his own experiences, because he went against the narrative, and they are showing him who's in power, and he just doesn't have the fight in him to fight against it. He's not he's not an Alex Jones. He's not someone who has, he just wants to be that laid back, mellow hippie, and maybe he just needs to do that. Maybe he just needs to just go back to talking about ayahuasca and mushrooms and weed and drugs and, the stuff that's safe, the stuff that the mainstream establishment media is okay with him talking about. Yeah. But the one thing that's been proven is that, you go into COVID, you're going to get spanked, especially if you're making $100 million.
That's why for us, man, it's going to take a large number for us to be, signing anything, because we're going to strictly stay independent. That's our motto. That's the mantra over here. I mean, fuck, we might even create our own fucking little network and just have a line of podcasts that are going to team up and, be under the umbrella of, I don't know, what would we call it? Something network, a cool name. I don't know. We'll come up with a cool name, right? Off the Tip Network. I was gonna say Off the Tip Records. I'm like, this ain't music though.
Yeah, something crazy.
It'll be something cool. It'll be something cool though, man. But yeah, no, definitely. For now though, we definitely want to have no strings attached to anything, so we can just talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, with whoever we want, and just just keep it just what it is, like what you see here, what we present to you right now.
Just at least be able to, and even if we're wrong, right? Even if we put some stuff out that's wrong, in America, you're allowed to be wrong. You are protected under the freedom of speech, the Constitution, to be wrong or to have an opinion that differs. But there's, with the money that we keep feeding into our political system and into our corporate overlords, they've left us the crumbs, right? To where we got Denny's managers selling fentanyl on the side, and you've got crime waves of shoplifting. What do you think is going to happen, right? When you just give us crumbs, and then you guys have all this money to consolidate the power and the propaganda machine that you've created, when you have a lot of independent voices, and that's what, to me, that's what this is the era. America has always been all about revolutions, and I think that podcast, cryptocurrency, I think those are the two major revolutions going on right now in this country, is that so many people are tuning out of cable news and mainstream propaganda channels that they're just like, you know what? I don't want to hear everything that they're saying. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of sheep that listen to that stuff that will go to CNN and take it hook, line, and sinker, and just believe everything they're saying. And there's just absolutely no critical thinking. It's just they just follow it and swallow it, And,
follow it and swallow it.
Yeah,
that's the title. That's the title of this episode. Follow it and swallow it. It's beautiful how that comes together, man. I love it. I love it. You use those it's like when you say those certain keywords, like it just highlights it in my mind. Like follow it and swallow it. Perfect. Nah, man. But yeah, man. Shit, independence and freedom of speech and just fucking doing what it is what you want to do. That's the beauty of it, man. But yeah. I mean, other than that, brother, damn, I think we've talked a few good stuff here today for this episode. I know I definitely, I actually got invited to go watch a UFC fight. I think that's going to happen a little bit later today. So
that Joe Rogan will not be narrating.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if they pulled him from that. Did they pull him from that too?
Yeah, they did. Well,
oh shit.
The official on paper said, "Oh, there was a scheduling conflict," but no.
Oh my god,
they don't want that heat. No,
oh dude,
no, too hot to have Joe Rogan there.
Oh well, man. Well, that sucks, man. That sucks. All right,
that's cool though.
Well,
yeah.
So I'm gonna go check that out and just kind of chill for the rest of the night. But with that being said, we're gonna sign out. Go check out all our previous episodes, available on all major streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneFM Radio, all that stuff. Make it easier for yourself, though. Give us a follow on Instagram at the Tic-Tac Podcast, where you will be given a direct link in our bio that'll take you everywhere where we're at, available, YouTube and all that stuff. But go check us out. Till then, we'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Have an awesome Friday. Have an awesome week and stay safe out there. And as always, we love you. Take care. Peace.